What's going on, everybody, and welcome in. It's a beautiful Thursday morning here at the First Four Down Studios. We got a Thursday night matchup. Chicago Bears, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Should be a great game, hopefully. Probably more defensive than you would like, but that's okay. Should be okay. Also, we got the injury report coming to you. A lot of players haven't been updated necessarily yet as of Thursday morning. We got to wait for the afternoon report, but I'm going to give you my outlook on, some of the players who I think are possibly going to be sitting, some options you're going to have to look forward to. And then on the flip side, COVID. It's hit Tennessee Titans altogether, period. They had a couple more tests positive just today. So it's not looking good for that outcome of the game. So definitely there's going to be some players this week on the start sits that, you may be having to take chances on because that game just might not happen. So for the first four downs, B. Scott, drop the logo. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. Like I mentioned in the preview, we're going over the injury report, Thursday night football, COVID, all this stuff. So before we get into today's content, please like the video, subscribe, share it, hit the thumb, comment. Let me know what more I can do for you to help you, obviously. So let's get right into the COVID stuff. So first off, Tennessee Titans. They had another positive test today. That game is looking like it's possibly not going to go. I did watch a short of Adam Schefter saying that the playoffs might be based on win percentage, meaning they're not counting full games played. So in that essence, it's not necessarily an automatic forfeit for the Tennessee Titans. It's just a game that won't be played. So it's crazy to think about in that aspect. But right now, as of right now, with the player testing positive today, I just don't see on Thursday how they're going to be able to get a game in. Also, Stephon Gilmore, New England Patriots, tested positive. I'm not surprised. When I heard that Cam Newton first tested positive early in the week, I didn't think that game would be able to be played because the incubation period and no one really knows when and in fact, if players are positive or not. So it's crazy to think that game was played. Gilmore test positive. It's not looking good for the Patriots, at the moment. Obviously they test heavily. They have a lot of protocols they go through. So obviously the safety of the players is the utmost importance. So who knows? That's another thing to keep an eye out on. But we can get to the injury report. And it is Thursday morning. There are some news reports that aren't necessarily out yet. Michael Thomas, he's going to practice for the first time today. We'll see. He's a big name. Last week, he got in a lot of limited practices and was almost about to go, but they kind of held him out, I think, precautionary. This week, he should be fired up for the Monday night matchup. Obviously, if Michael Thomas is out there, you're going to have him in your lineups, plain and simple. So, Julio Jones, he was limited to individual drills on Thursday for practice. He's not looking good. He's on the bad side of questionable, in my opinion, right now. He missed the second half of last week's game with a setback. They already know that he's not going to be 100% this week. In my opinion, I would just sit Julio Jones altogether. You're not winning football games anyway. You might as well sit him. They play the Carolina Panthers. I think that they could still possibly lose with the Carolina Panthers this week and start 0-5. Not good. So Julio, in my opinion, is on the wrong side of the start. Possibly a game time decision. I'm looking elsewhere already, trying to set up, that situation for the week. So Raheem Moster, running back. San Francisco 49ers, he got in a limited practice today. It's kind of a wait-and-see approach with Mostert. He's missed the last 2 weeks with the MCL sprain. Who knows if he'll be ready to go or not. You're just going to have to kind of inch it along. I think if he does go, he might be limited. And also, Jared McKinnon, a touchdown in every single game so far this season and has played the part. Looked pretty good. So, Raheem Moster may not be a start for me this week, considering, even if he plays. But you might have to roll him out there. So, Kareem Hunt, he also was limited with the groin. He was limited last week with the groin injury. That's going to happen. Coming into this week, Nick Chubb's ruled out. He's got a tough matchup. Indianapolis Colts, man, that defense is very stout. But he possibly could be limited in this game. Of course, he's going to see a lion's share of targets and, rushes. But he is limited, so just keep an eye on that and make sure no setbacks and things like that. Desean Jackson, return to practice. Huge target for Carson Wentz. If you got to pick him up, he's definitely a little flyer for me this week. It is a tough matchup, plays the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if he's good to go and healthy, he's a possible option. So definitely you just got to watch his practices through the week. If he can get out there and go, he's another player. Lamar Jackson. This is scary. Back-to-back missed practices with the knee. They're saying he's okay. He'll be fine. It's precautionary. But you don't miss back-to-back practices if it's precautionary most of the time. Now, who knows? DeAndre Hopkins last week missed back-to-back practices. Actually missed all of week of practice. Still went out and balled. Didn't play great, but he still played. He was out there. And then come to this week, he's practicing just fine. So maybe it's some maintenance days off. They're giving him a week off. Who knows? Lamar Jackson, just a guy definitely you need to keep an eye on. Top 5 quarterback, period. You're not sitting him no matter what. It's definitely a situation you got to be worried about. So definitely I would, maybe pick somebody up just in case. Maybe wait till tomorrow, maybe Saturday to make sure. He'll probably get the questionable designation, but he probably will be out there, more than likely. So also this week, return of Le'Veon Bell. Coming off IR, only played week 1. Didn't look great when he was out there anyway. But who knows? Le'Veon Bell is not a guy, even coming into the preseason, coming into the regular season, he wasn't a guy I was aiming for at all. He struggled last year, lowest yards per carry average in his career. Absolutely terrible. And the Jets offense as a whole is horrible. Adam Gase, I don't understand how he still has a job. Bill O'Brien gets fired, and Adam Gase still has a job. I mean, the Jets, by far, are the worst football team, period, in the NFL. It's not even close. So, Le'Veon Bell's return, who knows what he can give you. I wouldn't be firing him up if I had to, but that's a guy. So, we can get into tonight's matchup. We got some players, Tampa Bay, Chicago, that are questionable. Mike Evans, he's a game-time decision. They're saying he's going to go out there, he's going to test the ankle out. I'm not so sure of it. Chicago Bears are very tough against wide receivers anyway, so in my opinion, if you have Mike Evans, even if he does play, he might be on a sit for you. So this is a situation you got to monitor very closely over the next couple hours. But Chris Godwin already ruled out. Leonard Fournette already ruled out. Scotty Miller, big pickup of the week. He's played pretty well. He's questionable coming to this game also. They're expecting him to play no matter what. So, that's that. So that's been the injury report for week 5 so far. Like I said, there's a lot of information still not available yet on certain players, practices, things like that. So we'll just have to wait and see. And the Titans, Bills game, who knows? You might just have to be playing if that game doesn't happen altogether. So we'll get to the matchups here in a couple days later in the week. But we'll get to the Thursday Night Football preview, right? We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road against Chicago Bears. This should be a pretty good game. I'm pretty sure this is the first time Brady faces Foles since the Super Bowl. So this is pretty exciting news. You know what I mean? I look forward to this game. Tampa Bay, they're going to be without a lot of pass catchers, a lot of weapons on that offense. And the Chicago Bears have looked terrible on offense for the most part. They have come back in some games. And their defense has been as good as it has been, holding opponents to low points. It's just missing out on sacks, turnovers, things like that. So for me, starts in this game. Tampa Bay. I'm a little weary of Tom Brady as a start. Chicago Bears have been pretty good against the quarterback, period. They haven't given up a wide receiver touchdown yet on the season. Tight ends, they can score some touchdowns. They've given up some short yardage ones back-to-back weeks. Within the 5-yard line, they've given up a touchdown to the tight end position. So that tells you that I don't know if I can feel comfortable starting Tom Brady. Ronald Jones, Chicago Bears, average giving up just a shade over 100 yards rushing total a game. Have not given up a single 100-yard rusher, but they've given up 100 yards rushing. So Ronald Jones, no Leonard Fournette tonight. He's absolutely a flex guy for me, possibly RB2 if you have to put him there. Definitely like him in this matchup. And Mike Evans, this is where I'm torn. He is a game-time decision. If it were me, I have Mike Evans in one of my leagues. I'm probably just going to pull him out of my lineup altogether just because I'd rather play it safe than sorry. He had an ankle injury last week that he played through. Played outstanding. But you could tell he was hurting just running up and down the field. So if he's out there, you never know if he re-aggravates it. And the Chicago Bears, they haven't given up a touchdown to the wide receiver. And Mike Evans has a lot of touchdowns within the 5-yard line. So, that's a little weary for me to absolutely throw him in my lineup and say he's an absolute start. So, and I like Tampa Bay defense. Chicago Bears offense does not look great at all. On the Chicago side of the ball, there's not very many starts for me. I like Allen Robinson in this game based on pure volume. Tampa Bay has given up some work to the wide receivers on the outside, but none of them's blown it out of the water. So Allen Robinson, last week you saw Tampa Bay give up 2-3 large bombs to Justin Herbert. if Nick Foles wants to hang in this game, he might have to make some plays like that. Tampa Bay has been absolutely dominant on the ground, not giving up any rushing yards, period. David Montgomery, he's a sit for me. Mooney, Miller. I don't know what these guys are going to do in the passing game. So I have a hard time starting these guys at all. Obviously, Allen Robinson, you're going to start him, period. Chicago Bears defense. This is a start I would possibly take right here. This could be a low-scoring affair between two defensive teams, period. And Brady, don't get me wrong, threw 5 touchdowns, coming off a 5-touchdown game last week. But no Godwin. No O.J. Howard. Scotty Miller banged up a little bit. Mike Evans, he's definitely banged up. No Leonard Fournette. I mean, the list goes on and on with the offensive weapons that they had. Brady still got it done last week, but the Chicago Bears defense is no joke. So I'm taking Tampa Bay in this game. I think they're going to get it done on the road, just on the veteran presence of Brady and the will and the defense. You know, that stuff's going to happen. So that's been the Thursday Night Football preview. That's been the injury report. Just giving you a quick update of Week 5, looking ahead. So we got the matchup video coming up, like I said. And, yeah, so for the first 4 downs, it's been B. Scott, and I'm out.